On this episode of Lapeef Let's Talk.
First to buy that will be an asset.
And then you got to do some work and research. And again, that can be a whole 2-hour conversation. And
that's why
my goal is
because it just holds in the conversation.
Yeah,
I blame JR for that damn question.
No, don't blame me.
But not only that,
y'all do y'all thing, bro.
The Roth IRA and life insurance, like certain types of life insurance, if you start that from young or even build it for your kids, you can pull money out. That's how Disneyland was funded. He pulled money from his life insurance. So
but this is what I'm saying. I bought a 77 Eldorado 8 years ago, right? The amount I purchased that 77 Eldorado, that I didn't put no more miles on it, right? It gained value. But if you buy a Toyota Corolla, yes, it's gonna lose value. So like I say, it's rules to the game or whatever. And I don't think this topic was meant for this conversation.
Or it appreciates over time.
Okay, so
anything that appreciates over time is an asset.
You say your watch is an asset, right?
Absolutely.
How much do it cost? How much did it cost?
This one, $40,000.
$40,000. Mm-hmm. Now, can the average person buy a $40,000 watch?
But they don't need to. You know where they can start?
Wait.
You know where they can start?
Without?
You know where they can start?
Say that again?
You know where they can start? These right here just came in the mail. These are worth more than what I paid for them as long as I don't put them on my feet. Every last thing that's in here, it looked like a fucking Foot Locker on both sides of this room. Everything I have in here is an appreciating asset. Everything, because I look at it differently. And that's what I was explaining to people in the beginning of the live stream, is that it's different. It's a difference between opening up a business and looking at things from a business perspective. It's a completely different game that everybody playing out here.
See, I have a question.
And I'm gonna go ahead and just make this point, and then Courtney. I mean, okay. I don't want to stay on this, but this is probably what you're doing. Like you're saying, shoes and watches, right?
No, I'm just using that as an example.
As an example, right? So, for example, is this? So, shoes and watches might be an asset to who? And then at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, how long? How important is it? So I'm just like this. I'm like this. If you
know where else they can start, Logic?
Well, I know, because you can give me another.
I'm gonna give them another piece of gems, like another game. Look at your favorite company. Y'all out here buying these every day. These was an actual tax write-off for me. You know what else I own? I own Apple stock. Right, but that's literally go out and buy a share. Amazon just split they stock 20 for 1. It's coming up. Amazon stock was worth almost $3,000. They're doing a 20 for 1 split. Anybody can get a Fidelity brokerage account, go in and buy the things that is going to appreciate over time. Historically, the stock market has historically grown by at least 7 to 8% over time for the life of the market. You can go and buy anything, just sit on it.
As I'm getting at it, is I'm with you, right? But a lot of this stuff you're saying right now, it falls in the personal ring. I'm with you. Every camera I buy that I live stream on YouTube, you best believe I will be filing it on my taxes. Every last camera, every computer, every light, everything I buy, I be writing it off on my taxes. Long as I meet that criteria. But the thing, what I'm trying to say is that what you're saying to the average man to sit here and purchase a $40,000 watch
That's not what I'm telling them. I use that as an example, but I'm also telling them that they can buy. Listen, the average man is going to go out and he gonna throw his money in a strip club. I'm telling that average man to stay your ass home.
That's recording right after this.
Stay your ass home. Open up a brokerage account online in 15 minutes for free. All of us got these mobile devices where you can literally go and do that. And then you can go and research the companies that you love, pay attention to the management, pay attention to the income to debt ratio, pay attention to their long-term strategy, cloud infrastructure, all of your favorite companies. You can literally buy into them. If you love Disney, if you like streaming them so much, then go buy a share of Disney.
But what does it got to do with business credit though?
I thought you was asking me about assets specifically.
No, but I'm saying
we gotta get Courtney in. Go ahead, Courtney.
This is what I was saying. What is the biggest asset that a person has? Majority of us, what is it?
Their home.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So in order to get a home, what kind of credit do you need to leverage it?
Personal.
Right. So that's why I said personal credit, because the majority of our asset comes from our homes.
But
That's
Courtney, even that's wrong.
And it's not everyone. And I understand what Lodge is saying. I can't afford a $40,000 watch. And a lot of assets a lot of people have already had has been generational. A lot of us don't have anything generational go to. So I'm really big on home owning, because this is something that I have an asset that's under my name, because I don't have anything given to me. So when I'm saying for me, and that's why I said personal credit, because as far as the biggest asset that I have under my name that has appreciated phenomenally since I bought my home is my house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the problem is that you're not looking at your home from a business perspective, because if you really took into account the cost of that home, you're actually losing money if you're purely looking at it from a business perspective. You're not, see, if you look at something from a business perspective, anything, right? If you're going to run a business, it's what you profit, what you take in minus your expenses. Most people only justify their home as their biggest asset and want to plow a bunch of money into it. And we're not talking about this record economy where inflation is out of control and it's a war in Ukraine and it's no supply and it's a pandemic. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about a general everyday situation. The home that you look at or that you live in should not be looked at from a business perspective. And the problem with that is that you're not taking into account all of the costs that go into it. When you pay property taxes, when you maintain that home, when you get repairs, when you pay electricity and utilities and all of that. If you're looking at it from a business perspective and you can't write that off because that's your personal home, that means that that home from a business perspective, yeah, it may be better for renting for most people, but looking at it from a business perspective, that is not a good business decision as far as looking at it from a business perspective, because over the life of the home, if you look at how much you're paying in interest and all of that other type of stuff, you're largely depending on that home appreciating before you sell it. And you got to live in it at least 10 to 15 years before you really get a return on your money.
But see, Antonio, a lot of people actually.
I'm gonna digress.
This is what I'm saying, and I'm gonna get out this, because I literally had this conversation with some. I just literally had this conversation with some young gentlemen in a bar today. If y'all in the chat, tell me what's up, brother. All right, and then we was literally having this conversation, and we was talking about actually utilizing and using your personal credit and actually purchasing property, using that equity within that property at a certain time, and then actually investing that into. So we've been having this though. But what I'm saying, I understand your perspective, right? Kind of. But for the average person, the average viewer, they will start at the personal level. Because it's like, it really, I mean, pretty much everybody will start at the personal level, especially in the Black community. I'm just be honest. We don't have no legacy being passed down to us. You know what I'm saying? We don't see how, like, unless you LeBron James' son, let's be honest and let's talk to the people that we're speaking to. The people that we're speaking to would obtain access through the personal level, and they will manage it through the personal level. And then now maybe one day they can get to that business level. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right, go ahead, Kate. I mean, yeah, Kayla was gonna go and then Q. Go ahead.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is that I think that your home definitely could be an asset for personal and business. A good deal of businesses, people are in their home, so you can definitely write your home off as your office. You can write off your personal car as your business car. You can write off a lot of things you use for personal for business as starting your business at your house until there's enough revenue to have an office or brick and mortar or some type of warehouse. So I do think that having a home is the first step for people who don't have assets or come from assets or have anything to leverage, getting your personal credit to a space where you can get a home. And then so what Anton was saying about the interest is like, this is what you do, people. This is what I do. You play the insurance, you play the lender against themselves, right? So I get the loan, I get a payment I can avoid, but every time I make my car payment, I make it in double. So you only accrue interest for time that you have borrowing the money. So the faster you pay it down, the less amount. Obviously, you'll pay them some kind of interest in the end. But you'll pay a lot less versus that payment every single month. Just if like whenever you do get money, you just put a bunch of cash into it, you'll pay down your interest faster. And that would also give the lender incentive to give you another credit or something else because they want more interest from you, right? Even though you're not going to pay it, if you continue to like pay it off as soon as you get that credit line. But that's just another thing that for a whole other conversation.
But you shouldn't even be buying cars. Y'all should be
moderate
leasing
that
cars.
people can do.
Go ahead, Q.
They shouldn't even be buying cars. They should be leasing cars. But that's a whole nother thing, bro.
I want to what Logic said regarding the personal credit, right? I feel like we as people, we need to branch out and educate others because there's other things we can do. I flipped houses with one of my coworkers and we didn't have to use our personal credit, right? We got a self-directed IRA from 3 rich men because they looked at what cash we had in our account, right? So you don't always have to leverage or run your credit. And I feel like it's because we're still stuck in the bubble thinking, oh, we need credit for everything. That's not true, right? So there's other ways being in wholesaling or being in flipping that you can leverage other people's money instead of going through the bank and paying high interest. So I'm just talking about from my perspective, what we did. I mean, and then you're paying a lower interest regarding these guys instead of going through a bank. So you don't have to deal with credit all the time. You just have to find those other options and alternative options that you can use. So, yeah.
So I just need
conversation.
Final point, y'all, so we can.
I just needed to know that, you know, I just need to find 3 rich men.
No, it's not that. We're in financial services. So we go to these, we were going before COVID, we were going to these classes and stuff like that. There's other things that they look into. Of course, we're going to pay an interest rate because instead of them having that money just sitting there, it's getting like what, 1-2%. And then we're paying like what, 8%. But you can do more things out there than just using your credit. You just have to go educate yourself and go find it. But they look at other things regarding what we had.
Listen. Do y'all know that y'all can literally leverage your Roth IRA, which is a contribution that you can personally make up to $6,000 a year that essentially does not, you will never have to pay taxes on that money ever again. As much as it grows, as you continue to multiply it, you will never have to pay taxes on your Roth IRA ever again. And if you're married, it doesn't even matter if your spouse is working because you can then double the contribution to it, which is up to $12,000 again a year. And it continues to grow exponentially, which means it snowballs. Do y'all know that if you lease a car, there's literally lease hacks where I just turned in my personal car that I leased. They literally paid me $5,000 just to give it back to them. Literally. Yeah. You know that you can write off the entirety of a lease payment as long as if it's allocated for your business, everything associated with it, the insurance payments, the lease, everything, you can literally write that off as a business expense. Whereas if you buy it for your business, as long as you got a personal vehicle, then you have to take into account depreciation. Like, it's so many life hacks that puts more money in your pocket. What people are doing, this Dave Ramsey mindset, that's good for people that's just trying to get to the starting line. It's a whole nother level of game and money as far as how it is that you can level your money and your resources and your assets in order to continue to level up in life. It's so much money out here, and people are playing themselves by putting themselves in a box and then thinking that just because you do it A, B, C, 1 + 1 don't equal 2 in the finance world at all. That's all. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
not only that, life insurance.
Yes, but I'm not gonna go into it though. Like I said, it is. So what you're saying is you're saying something solid, but you're leaving gaps into a lot of this stuff. And like I don't even want to get into it
because I can talk about this for the next 4 hours, and I know that JR is trying to move on. I don't know what he got planned for the show, so that I'm just kind of like weaving in and out. But I guess my goal in this conversation, which I didn't even know what the conversation was going to be, is I want to inspire people and get them more interested so that they can start leaning into stuff that actually add value into their life instead of some of the most toxic stuff on the internet. Spend 10% on the toxic, spend 90% being inquiring and getting curious about how money works, because all of this information, bro, I spent the majority of my time in the library. That's what my work study was in college. All I did was read and study.
Say something like, don't buy a car, right? Yes, or don't. It's certain cars to buy that will be an asset.
And then you got to do some work and research. And again, that can be a whole 2-hour conversation. And
that's why my goal is because it just holds in the conversation.
Yeah,
I blame JR for that damn question.
No, don't blame me.
But not only that,
y'all do y'all thing, bro.
The Roth IRA and life insurance, like certain types of life insurance, if you start that from young or even build it for your kids, you can pull money out. That's how Disneyland was funded. He pulled money from his life insurance. So,
but this is what I'm saying. I bought a 77 Eldorado 8 years ago, right? The amount I purchased that 77 Eldorado, that I didn't put no more miles on it, right? It gained value. But if you buy a Toyota Corolla, yes, it's gonna lose value. So like I say, it's rules to the game or whatever. And I don't think this topic was meant for this conversation.